Hi, this is Charles Kelly, Money Tips, the last broadcast of 2021. And as this year draws to a close, we see another report again of property prices rising by the highest rate for many, many years, certainly since about 2006, which of course was a couple of years before the last crash. But they've reached record highs, record levels, which I guess you would expect that because property prices are not going to be the same as they were in 1950. But shares also have reached record highs on many of the markets, and this is despite poor economic outlook for the year, and interest rates rising, inflation, and all these things, and yet house prices have continued to rise during the year, even after the stamp duty holiday ended in September. They've reached now an average price across the board of just under £255,000, but that's going to vary wildly from, say, parts of Wales and the northeast, where you can still pick up a property for 40,000-50,000, and London, where you wouldn't get a garage or a parking space for that, and properties can sell for the tens of millions. So London prices, they didn't go up everywhere in the country. Property prices in the countryside, where people wanted to move and get out of London to, have gone up by more. Wales in particular by 15%. I know parts of Devon went up by more than that, but parts of London actually fell in some boroughs in London. People want this good life, but I think they're going to find it a little bit different out there. Slower Wi-Fi, perhaps some church bells going off on a Sunday morning, waking them up. I don't know, but I think things could be different, especially if their employers start to want them to be back in the office 5 days a week. That could be a problem if you live hours and hours away. Now, the Nationwide lender that's published this report, and the Halifax that published their report, similar kind of figures, both say that the market will slow next year. Perhaps growth will slow. They never say it will fall, but they say the growth will slow. This is due to interest rates rising, slowing economy, the new variant and that sort of thing. And also because people have kind of brought all their property purchases forward last year to beat the stamp duty holiday. Stamp duty is a tax that we pay, an obscene tax we pay in the UK, just to buy your own property to live in after you pay tax on the money you've earned to buy it. But there you go, it's now a very high tax. So they had a holiday, and that boosted sales during lockdown periods. Now, interest rates are obviously a factor, as we've mentioned. Interest rates rose recently to 0.25% in the UK. The US expects to increase rates 3 times next year, and normally that would mean a cooling influence on the property market. But they've done this, of course, to curb inflation, which is increasing at the highest rate for 40 years nearly. In the UK, over 5%, in the US, 7%. But shadow stats, the market sort of statisticians who look at the real stats, say that if you calculated inflation the way it used to be calculated in the 80s, inflation would now be over 15%. And we know that the price of stuff is going up very fast in the shops. We know that fuel costs could double for many people in the UK. So it could be a long winter for many people in the UK. So rates have gone up already in the UK, and I think they will start going up in other parts of the world, as they have done in some countries. But the banks are between a rock and a hard place. That yes, they need to increase rates to curb inflation, but they will also then end up paying billions and trillions of dollars more on their debts that they owe to bondholders. So they've got to balance that carefully. Many people say that inflation will be temporary anyway. So we'll have to see how that really pans out during the year. No two economists are really going to agree with each other. So we will have to see. I'll put the full details up on my blog. You can see all of the different areas. Wales up 15%, Northern Ireland 12%, Scotland 10%, the North 7%, London, it says up 4%, but some parts of London actually dropped. So we'll have to see. You have to check for yourself, but prices do vary wildly in most parts of the country, as it does in most parts of the world. Now, the year has been dominated by lockdowns, then freedom days, and then more lockdowns, even up to the point of Christmas and New Year, where Scotland and Northern Ireland and Wales have got lockdowns, but England hasn't. And we've seen A 71% slump in international flights coming in and out of the UK, retail giants such as Debenhams biting the dust, and thousands of small businesses and hospitality firms either really suffering or going out of business. And yet, on the other hand, other businesses have prospered wildly. Not just the likes of Amazon, but any business that has adapted to the online world or Zoom, the dreaded Zoom meetings. But lots of training businesses have gone on to Zoom training now, whereas they would have done everything face to face. So many businesses have actually done better in the last year. So it's all about how you adapt and how you look forward to the year and what your intentions are, what your real intentions are. And I put an article up there, I put a link to it called How Will You Prosper in 2022? It'll be on some of my older episodes anyway, and how you can make 2022 your best year ever. And I'll give some tips there, not just on goal settings, but doing something about it. Now, it's also been a year when we've witnessed climate disasters, and in particular, just before Christmas, the Philippines suffered a major typhoon in the southern islands, and many had their homes just wiped out. 90% of homes were wiped out. And just before Christmas, we were worrying about, will we get our turkeys? And yet people there were starving and dying of thirst. So I put up a little fundraiser on my Facebook page for Rotary. It's a Rotary fundraiser to raise money to provide shelter for people who have lost their homes in the Philippines. And, we also saw in this year a lot of money migrating from countries, from perhaps countries like China and Russia into property markets in the UK, Canada, Australia, etc. Wealthy people are more and more seeking second and third passports, cash for passports in many countries, even European countries. And, we also saw a mass migration of people looking for a better life, moving into the Western countries, just turning up and saying asylum. And who can blame them when they can see online now that people in the West are having the life of Riley and they're starving. So, you can't blame them. But I used to be involved in helping people to come to the UK legally, and we've never witnessed anything like that since, a time of great wars. But look, what can we look for the next year? Well, financial education is the key to making money, to keeping money, and to building a wealthy and secure, financially free future for yourself. And that's why I say keep watching my free stuff on YouTube, Facebook, all of my channels, iTunes on the podcasts, and do like and share those and subscribe to get that free content out to more people. Now look, I also talk about saving and economizing and that sort of thing, to make the best of your money. Of course you should do, but can you really get rich just by saving and economizing? Well, I don't think you can. You might do if you save every penny you earn for 40 years, but really to accelerate your wealth, you need to do more than just save. And that's why I launched my new book called Borrow and Grow Rich. Now it's going to be published on the 1st of January, so do look out for that. And I'm putting a special offer up here where if you order a copy of that book and pre-order it, I'll give you a PDF copy of my last book, Yes, Money Can Buy You Happiness, absolutely free. And there's another offer I'm putting out where you can get, if you look out for that, you can get some free chapters as well. But do look out for that, because I teach you how to use the power of leverage to really accelerate your wealth and your wealth building, because that's how the wealthy people have always done it from thousands of years ago. They've always used the power of leverage. You can't just, even the businesses like you hear about, Jeff Bezos started selling books from a garage, and Michael Dell started building computers in a garage, and Apple started in a garage. But to really get big and to really not just become a small successful business, to scale it up, they needed leverage. They needed other people's money. They needed angel capital, investor capital, venture capital, and they needed stock capital. So look, that's the way you do it. So I'm not going to talk about the big businesses, but how you can get rich by borrowing money, using other people's money, not to buy silly, frivolous things that go down in value like gadgets and clothes, but to buy things that go up in value and what we call assets, not liabilities. But you need leverage to do that sometimes. So look out for that, Borrow and Grow Rich. It's up there on Amazon already. And I want to just thank everybody for supporting me in the last year, for liking, subscribing, for sharing my content, and for your comments. Love to see those. And I do wish you all a very happy and prosperous new year. Remember to make it your best year ever. Don't think about what's going on in the wider world's economy. Look at what's going on in your economy, your economy. So thanks very much and Happy New Year. Great to see you all. Thank you.